Welcome to Tyler Talks. I'm going to talk a lot today. Y'all can listen. You don't have to. You know the rules here. So you knew a video was going to come out if you're in Discord. Posted this deck in Discord. I've done some edits since. So I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag. I love playing Redemption. I love the game of Redemption. Playing Type 1 is not on my top priorities. I want it to be, but I am a card designer and I love making decks, and I'm play testing the new set, and I'm helping people get ready for Scroots, which that's Type 1, but I'm talking rotation, like competitive, and I'm a Type 2 player. So I put a lot of time, as pretty much as soon as it gets around December, January, I'm already looking at what I think is good for Type 2 from a national standpoint. And I already have about 15 decks made for Type 2 for nationals, and I just build and test on my own time. Then playing Type 1 is there. So I don't get to play as much as I want. I get to play Braden a lot. We'll hop on Discord video, and we'll play in like physical, like actual decks, which is nice. I get on some wacky Grand Prix here and there as I see my schedule open up, but I don't play as much as I'd like to. And mostly that's because my time needs to be going to playtesting and card design and other things. But preface that with, I actually played this deck multiple times, both in Lackey and physically. So this is one of the rare times where I actually built my deck, played it, made edits, played it again, made edits. This little guy's undefeated. Played some good players. A guy named Jay. Braden's really good. I'm actually really excited for Braden at Nationals. We got to get him to Nationals this year. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But this deck is really, really good. Jaden was playing Daniel offense last year, and that was before Roots and IR. So now, and Deliverance, honestly, so because I'm looking at the cards I added. So you get a lot more cards and Jaden had a time. I think it was a timed, I don't know. I'll say it's a time to win. But if he had the full win, he's looking at getting third place. So, and I think his time was against Nick Marshall, maybe? No, Zach Gilbaugh. That's who it was. Really good player. So, that being said, like Jaden's deck, which had a big draw engine with choke seed, like accumulator. You can have all the ways to go to accumulator. Accumulator puts himself in play pretty much turn one, or you have him in hand. You drop accumulator. He makes tokens. You block with accumulator. You put 6 tokens on himself, and more than likely you have a way to get, or you already have, choke seed. So you get a draw 12. That's really, really good. And Orange got more cards. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jaden goes back to that deck. It's still really, really good. And now you give him Wheel Within a Wheel, Captain, just this deck in general, and just other cards in general. Hidden Treasures if you want, stocks. So I say that because no one's, to my knowledge, maybe probably Emmanuel, is playing Daniel. No one else. No one's talking about it, and by all means, Jaden got 4th place. I get it. Jaden's a phenomenal player. It is a very good offense, and now we have Captain of the Host Roots. I haven't seen anyone talk about this offense or anything, so I'm pretty shocked there. This is an extremely good offense. So I'll talk about how it plays, because there's a lot of topics I want to touch on today. So I'll quickly talk about how this plays. It's very search dependent. So we don't like Nazareth. That's a topic today. We'll get to that. Just the overall meta, and then I'll do I'm going to do 2 more videos soon I'm going out of town on Thursday, so I'll probably do a video Monday or Tuesday. Today's Sunday. Um, so I'll do a video Monday or Tuesday, probably with turn 1 Nazi lock, and just explain the current meta and show, in my opinion, one of the best decks that I've talked about a lot. Um, People are starting to play it, and they're starting to realize it. I've been talking about turn 1 Nazi and the right deck to pair it with for months. That's not like a toot my own horn. Like, I've seen Roots longer than ever anyone else but the Elders, so I get to see these cards. So I've had more exposure to them. But we're starting to see a lot of Nazi lock. So I'll get into more of that, but I'll show that deck list this week. And I definitely want to do maybe 2 videos this week before I leave. I have a big exam on Wednesday, and then I leave on Thursday, but I want to do some videos before Mr. Classic because Saturday they have a big tournament. So let's talk about this offense. It's super easy to get up, and it's a very easy offense to play. This is way better than any old school fight by the numbers or any fight by the numbers deck, period. But this is essentially a fight by the numbers deck. So you have wheel within a wheel to get out your angels you want, and it gets 2 of them, and you have 5. Plus you have Daniel's Prayer, Virgin Birth helps, and Angelic Guidance, and Great White Throne. You get your heroes super easy in this. I had Faith in here, and then I took it out, and people talked about Angel of the Winds. I really just care about Daniel to Michael and Captain. So Angel of the Winds would help, and Faith would help. Faith drastically increases the brigade count. If you really look at this, there's not a lot of brigades. It's majority brown. So yeah, you got 2 pale green cards. You got a crimson card and a gray card. That's very low chances for a Matthew hit. There is a Disciples deck with Nazi that's really good. That goes turn 1 Matthew, try to get a draw engine, and then they drop Nazi. They try to get some cards, and then immediately put Resurrection, bring in John the Fisherman, have Nazareth down. Hopefully they have a Lazarus 2 in their hand, and they're just trying to negate, draw 1, toss, draw 2, Nazi down, Matthew. That's one of the Nazi decks. So you do have to keep Matthew in mind. I'm not seeing as much Matthew right now because of, I call it Potlock. That's Pot of Mana, Holy Holies. It's a lockdown deck. So that's a very popular deck. And Nazi's just playing good heroes. Generally good attacks with a lot of just solo heroes or GOC bands. And then you have the other variant with Matthew. So I'm not seeing as much Matthew overall, but it's still nice to keep in mind. We don't need to just have a D9 off Matthew. You're probably going to lose the game if your opponent gets a D9 plus. So a lot of low brigades. So I took Faith out. Angel of the Winds is nice because he can come in and go to any of these heroes, and then I can theoretically have another in my hand. And then since they're all cloud, he gets the negate evil characters. I just have so many ways to heroes. Angel of the Winds just kind of became like a dead card very quickly, and I'd rather just have another enhancement. I like that this doesn't play a bunch of heroes, and I have Chamber and Love Righteousness to get them back. And maybe Faith goes in the reserve, and I can get Faith from reserve and then get back a cloud hero if needed. I have Love Righteousness to get back Daniel. Chamber keeps my angels alive, so I'm not too worried. So how does the deck work? It gets its heroes out very quickly. It'll have a foretelling out, and it'll attack with an Abendigo. We're talking turn 2, you're going to attack with Abendigo. Turn 1, you're going to get either Captain or some sort of Daniel band. Even Meshach to Daniel turn 1 is very good. So you're going to get some sort of attack turn 1. And then you're going to go to turn 2 is really when we start kicking. Abendigo comes in. You're going to underdeck the top card, and you're going to put pretty much Shadrach on top. and now foretelling comes into play. So while it's a Daniel card, Daniel characters cannot be negated. So you're going to gain CBN, and then you go into your band. And essentially the whole deck bands to itself. And its Daniel characters cannot be negated. So that would be your band. So it'll go Bendigo. So you get CBN, Lost Soul Protection. You can draw one if you want. I never do. I just keep Shatterak on top to have my CBN. So really I just care about throwing in Meshach just for another. I don't really need them. I kind of like Shatterak better main deck, but Meshach turn 1 is just good. Then you go to Daniel, which Daniel negates your chamber. He negates your shield too, but he negates your chamber. That sucks, just being honest, because it defaults the way we do default targeting now. He negates fortresses, meaning just all. So really your chamber is never going to work if you have Daniel in there. So I have thought about that, and I know I said chamber was really good in this, but when I was playing, I was like, crap, Daniel negates my chamber. I might need like a Chariot of Fire in here, just being honest, or some sort of heal or something. Everlasting Beings. I actually like Chariot of Fire in this build, ironically enough, but we can do that in another. If you make this deck and you have chamber, make sure you have a way to get back your heroes, especially Captain and Michael. That's the whole point of this deck. So you go to Daniel, and you don't really care about what Daniel does. Honestly, the only reason Daniel's in here is just to go to Angels. That's it. You really just have... you really just need Servants, Michael to Captain, to be honest. You don't need all this. That's why the hand look is nice. If I know I'm going to lose my heroes, I just don't put Daniel into battle, and I just push with the Servants to Michael to Captain. I just like having the band because it procs Foretelling Angel. So anyway, that's why you need the hand look, and we have Angelic Guidance and Hidden Treasures. So then we ban to a Daniel hero, and then we get more CBN Lost Souls, or CBN protection on Lost Souls from evil characters, but we also protect Daniel human heroes from lone evil characters, which everyone knows. You play with Great White Throne, and you have an at any time. I can discard a card to force, so I can have the potential to have CBN protection with Foretelling Angel, top deck, a Daniel card, Servants, Great White Throne. It's also nice because they have to have CBN or CBP banding because Captain's in here. Daniel also negates evil characters, so they're going to have... Someone asked me why not Forsaken Lost Soul to help Servants. Daniel and Captain are built-in Forsaken. And Forsaken is the Lost Soul that negates your opponent's banding. Of course, you ban to Michael, because Servants by the River bans to a Daniel Angel. You ban to Michael, and then you get the big toss. Most CBN enhancements that are, being played right now, most CBN enhancements are multi-brigade. Ironically enough, one of the only one that works against me is Reap the Whirlwind. Scattered Sheep, Abandonment, and Scattered. Those are all going to be tossed by Michael. And then Captain of the Host negates everything else. So the other thing you have to look at, No Straw is really good. Like Herods right now are really good against this defense. So there's one of two things. You can have Hidden Treasures and Captured Ark, or you can take out both Captured Ark and Hidden Treasures, and you can bring in like Holy Grail. That's been in one of my versions, and I really like it. I like Holy Grail and stocks in this because I can just grab your best heroes as long as I block. Like if I stalks your best heroes, Christian Martyr, Murderous Command, you're out of heroes. Like You just are. That's four of your best heroes right there between Stocks, Command, and Christian Martyr. So um, that's that's really good. That's not including just reserving your heroes, setting them aside, other captures. So there's a lot of character removal. So Holy Grail can come back in, but if I have hidden treasures up and get the hand look, and then I discard an evil enhancement, if I discard your no straw, the only thing your Heralds can do is be protected. So that's why I like Holy Grail, but if I see Heralds, I just use Stocks. They have to negate my Stocks. Like they have to 3-woes it right when I play it. Or negate neutrals. But it's hard to do against this. So with Heralds, I capture their Herald the Great, or I capture their whichever one is. I think Archelaus is lone heroes, so it's probably the other Herald, Agrippa or something. I don't know, the one that's protected from 2 or more heroes. Capture him and move on with life. And other than that, this offense goes through everything. You'll notice that I have Captured Arc, which just isn't played, Chronicles, and Live Coal. So that's going to be the segue into the first other topic I want to talk about. I already talked about Herald's Overtaken. That is... I guess it's the meta, but that is the trend. I think it's the better word right now. That is a very strong block. And because it's such a strong block, everyone's using it. And they should. And if you don't know about Overtaken, we talked about it last year. And I guess it's just now being played. But you go into battle with a CBN hero, like Daniel. Like I could use Overtaken and in this build if I want. But usually you just use it with Heralds because you have the overall most protection. Like Herald's Guard, Executioner. Executioner's amazing. So what you do, as long as your hero comes into battle and it triggers Overtaken, your characters, your evil humans, cannot be negated until next turn for artifact, which is crazy. And so every turn you just leave Overtaken up, which is a modifier, so you have to get rid of Overtaken. It's a gained CBN. So all you do is just walk in with a CBN hero, and boom, all your evil humans cannot be negated. That is insane. So everyone's using it. Heralds were already really strong, and now you don't need to do anything. You literally just attack with whatever hero you want, and your Heralds are CBN. So you're going to see a big shift to regardless of protect and negates, because Heralds, they have to use negates, or just the protection people in general. So that's why this offense does really well once it gets rid of Overtaken, because I'm going to win the negate war against you. So what I like to do is hidden treasures. If I can get that early, then I can just discard your Overtaken from your deck, or your no straw. No straw is one of the only cards that work through this defense. So getting the hand look is huge. So I can get rid of your Overtaken or your no straw, and eventually I will walk through. I don't know about hidden treasures, like, do I love it or not in this? I haven't tested it with hidden treasures in there yet, but I don't know if I need it, just because Michael and Captain pretty much do everything. There's very few enhancements that I even care about. But if you have Humble Lost Soul and Golgotha, like I have to watch out for that. So I don't know. We'll have hidden treasures in here. I think that Remnant comes out and Covet comes in, and I'm wondering if Wanderer also comes in. Maybe for, I hate to say color guard, but I think Covet needs to come in because I have to take your Humble Lost Soul. So if you're playing this, make sure that you have ways to get rid of their Humble Lost Soul. You can get your hand down and just go underneath, but it's nicer to just not worry about it at all. So Remnant should probably come out, but for Covet. But if they get Humble early, you want to just rescue it, or you have Wanderer. So I think both need to come into the deck. So we'll swap. I meant to take Remnant out for Covet anyway. I already talked about stocks. We know what Great White Throne does. And then, so I have Captured Ark, Hidden Treasures, Live Coal, and Chronicles. So I have 4 ways to get around Overtaken, to get rid of it. So I think I completely take care of Overtaken. That in no way does that card work against me in this deck. But the other aspect is Nazareth and Pot of Mana. So Holy of Holies doesn't do too much because Foretelling Angel is CBN, and he grants CBN. But Abednego won't work if Holy Holy's out. So what I have to do is I have to have Humble. I have to get my hand down, and then I have to attack. So I'm underneath Holy Holies, and then Abednego will work, and then I have CBN heroes. So at least I know like my line of sight, but I do need to be better prepared for Pot of Mana and Holy Holies. So that's the other aspect I want to talk about. If you want to be competitive this year, I mean at any tournament, we'll specifically talk states, regionals, nationals. If you want to be competitive at any tournament this year, you have to factor in multiple ways to get around Overtaken, Nazareth, and Pot of Mana, and Holy Holies. Chad just put out a really good article. I read it this morning with the deck list for Pact with Death, which we haven't seen in the meta at all. And that's because people are still building. People were... If you look at how the season went so far, and I think where it's going, like I knew Jay and John were playing, 'cause I talked to them, especially Jay, almost daily. I knew they were going to play, they call it Honeypot or Gandalf, and they were going to play the Pot of Mana Holy Holies deck, and majority of everyone else was just going to play, I'll just call it the Nick Marshall deck, like just Gospel, Good Stuff, Disciples. And Joe Mama, I need to know his name. Joe Mama was playing, that's his Discord name, the Nazareth deck, which I thought would beat Jay and John's deck, but it all depends on who goes first. John went to go first, and he got the lock, and he won. But when they played again in a Grand Prix, Joe Mama won. He has a very good Nazi lock deck. So we're going to see more Pact with Death as Chad starts beating people with that deck, and because he has all these ways to get out Pact with Death turn 1, and he has Holy Holy, so he can manipulate it as he wants if he wants to play Territory Class, which is really smart. So you're going to see, just assume your characters are going to be negated, so you have to get around that. So you need outs to like the main things in the season. Once Thomas J. Memorial was done, people started going to the Honeypot and the Gandalf deck, and sure enough, Jay already started building other stuff. And we're seeing Nazi Lock. A lot of people doing Nazi Lock, which I already thought was the best deck. It just didn't win the Thomas J. So you're going to see, I call it Potlock, but you're going to see the Holy Holies, Pot of Mana. You're going to see Overtaken, and you're going to see Nazareth. And with Holy Holies, I also synonymously put that together with Pact with Death. So you need to have ways out to everything. Pact with Death, I put in the same boat as Overtaken, so this deck isn't worried about it at all. Holy Holies is annoying, so I don't have anything for Holy Holies. If Pot of Mana is out, because I just assume Holy Holies is going to be negated, if Pot of Mana is out, I'm happy. Like, I can go in with Servants, but then I don't get the ban, so never mind, I'm not happy. Because I don't get the ban, and he only protects Daniel humans. So, yeah, I don't do anything against Pot of Mana in this current build. So I would have to change, and that might mean an entire defensive swap. I love this defense, but it's very susceptible to Holy Holies and Pact with Death. As you'll see, there is nothing here. That's a CBI. And that's it. And I have one CBP. So I have one CBP character that would work through negate characters. So although I love this deck, I would have to change probably, and I hate to say it, to green. That would give me to gray. That would give me Philosophy, Denarius. I mean, you know what gray is. But it gives me Brood of Vipers, Fear of Man, to where I have a couple outs against Nazi, but I would have to focus on getting out from Nazareth. As for Pot of Mana, I don't know. If it's protected, like, there's not a lot of stuff that just pops a good card in a territory, like Foreign Spears, but there's not a lot. There's characters that say discard a card except the character, so I'd probably have to bring in that card and play like Brood of Vipers and the Emperor that does it. I'm not sure which one it is, I forgot, but either way, if you want to be competitive this year, you got to be able to take out the Glory of the Lord, and then you can start working on their artifacts, or take out Eleazar. If you take out Eleazar, which he's usually protected by a fortress, so you got to take out the fortress. So either way, if you can take out the fortress to take out Eleazar, then you can just negate neutrals, and then you're good. You don't care about what they have going on. You have to be able to negate Nazi, unless you can play under Nazi, which is very, very hard to do, especially if they get to go turn 1. They're going to accumulate resources, and they're going to be built for Nazi, and you're simply not going to have enough resources against them, and they're just going to walk in. You literally can't search. So imagine all your consistency pieces that you have your deck built for can't get to anything. That's Nazi turn 1. So that's why I say if you have like 5 ways to get around Nazi, that should be enough in your deck. And then the other thing is getting out from curses, Overtaken, and Pact with Death specifically. So if you want to be competitive this year, I know I've been talking a bunch. If you want to be competitive this year, you have to be able to get out from CBN protected, Pot of Mana, Holy Holies, and turn 1 Nazi, and turn 1 Pact with Death. I'm waiting to see. I asked a question in one of the Discords. Alex Olahar was talking about he likes Nazi Cross, which I really like. I like having the conversation. What's the best piece, the complementary piece to Nazareth? Like, if I put down Nazi in my territory, what else can I put down to where you can't do anything? And what's the easiest way to do that? I think it's Judas. You can't search, and if you draw, I hit your hand. And it's going to be very difficult for you to get to hand protection. So every time, with Nazareth out, so every time you draw, I just take your best enhancement. Um, Destructive Sin, if you play orange. And orange, it doesn't just completely laugh at Nazi. But if you play orange, you should never have a problem with Nazi. You have so many ways to, um, between like Lawless, Galileans, and Darkness, you should be able to get to a Sorted Spirit. And Sorted Spirit can just place itself on Nazi and go to whoever you want. But if you play orange, which, once again, I could play orange with this deck, and I could get around Nazi immediately. I could also get around their protection forts, and I can just take Eliezer, discard him, whatever I need to do. I think orange is probably the best meta call to get around Potluck and Nazi. So I think this could go to orange, and guess what? We have Jaden's deck from last year with an upgrade because of Captain. So we have the massive turn 1 draw engine. We have all the consistency. Sure, we lose Covet, but we got to watch out for their Humble. But we can still play Wanderer. So our Lost Souls change. But I think that would be the best. I'm not going to say the best deck, but man, that's really, really good. If you have a 50 card and you have the Accumulator turn 1 for a draw, like you go Sorted Spirit, negate their Nazi, go to Accumulator, and you get a draw 12. I mean, you're just cruising at that point. And if you're going up against Pot of Mana, and you negate their Territory Class Protection, and you can get around their Eliezer, you're also just good. Because if they're built to have one character in battle, then and if Pot of Mana's out and it's negated or it's not working, you're just going to cruise right by them. With Servants, you're just going to have pretty much CBN protection. So I do think Daniel Orange is arguably the best call in the meta right now, period. And honestly, I probably should have made Daniel Orange, but because Jaden had it on his channel and he played it last year, I wanted to show something different, and I just really like this offense. But if I was going to a top-level tournament tomorrow, I would play Daniel Orange. Probably wouldn't have Hidden Treasures. Like, I'd probably go back to like a Holy Grail or something. But yeah, I would definitely play Daniel Orange. I won't talk about the defense. I've been, quite frankly, just blabbering this whole time. But like I said, there's a lot of things I wanted to talk about with just what's in the meta. So we said, like, where did the meta start? It was a lot of talk about Nazi, but only one person really committed to it. And Joe Mama's still playing that deck and doing very well. Jay is playing a Nazi deck. Jay plays a bunch of decks, and that's good. Like, play a bunch of decks until you find like a handful of decks that you really like, that you enjoy, that are good, and then stick with those. Rotate them out and see what. But by the time states and regionals come, you should know what you're playing for Nats. But then we saw the Gandalf deck and all that, and now we're going back into a turn 1 Nazi lock. So you should be able to know what you need to get out from under and then build that. So at least the meta is well defined. I like the rock, paper, scissors aspect that we're in right now with Nazi and Gandalf deck. I really like that aspect. And then, like, what's the rock? Is it Daniel Orange? I don't know. Or is it just the field? So there's Nazi turn 1, Gandalf, and then something else. And like Disciple, good stuff. But then you still pretty much go back to, is it Matthew with just Nazi? Or is the other deck Pact with Death? Which honestly, I put that into Gandalf because it's the same concept of just negating characters. So I really like this rock, paper, scissors. But I think if you make your deck appropriately, you have a huge advantage to get out from this Nazi turn 1 and the Holy Holies Pot of Mana lock. And if you can get out from that, you're going to win those games because they're built for Nazi. Like, they're just going to draw. And what do you know? Orange has Destructive Sin, which is amazing. I liked what Alex said. He was like, he thinks Destructive Sin is good. He just didn't have enough resources to go, like, not enough orange. If you have full orange, you have Fallen Star, you have the Choke Seed, you have Gates of Hell, and then you have Destructive Sin, like, that you can just drop in territory early on is just insane. And then you can put them in a lock. And all of a sudden you have a Fallen Star and a Destructive Sin. And it's like, I'm just going to walk in with my Daniel band now. So that's pretty much everything. You will see I added Confusion here. I have another Regardless of Protection just to get around the crazy amount of protection right now. I love that it's, if used by Daniel here, are Persian. So pretty much my entire deck gets ROP. So yeah, that's just another layer of, hey, you have protection, I can get around it and win the negate war. And once again, look at your hand. Do I need captain or no? Come in with this band without captain. Play ROP. Better to be Slaves is just a good card, especially when people are trying to make sure, like, they're playing the hand advantage battle with Humble. Right now you're seeing Humble in just about every deck. So they're going to try to get under at some point, and they're just not going to be able to if you need to get under their Humble because this offense. So Better to be Slaves usually works. Capture up to 3 humans is amazing because, once again, there's a lot of times where if I have an initiative, I'll play Better to be Slaves. Like Uza, my favorite block is Uza. Like getting Better to be Slaves, and I probably need Storehouse in here, to be honest. Like, I hate to say it, but something comes out defensively and Storehouse comes in. But either way, I have Better to be Slaves. I go out with Uza and play Better to be Slaves, and I die. Capture 3 of their evil characters, or capture their humans in territory, like anyone I want, up to 3. That's very, very good on a Uza. The other aspect is Confusion. I can go Uza into Confusion, and that's also very, very good. So probably do need a Storehouse. There's no reason to not have a Storehouse in here. At first I was like, I have such good reserve, like ways to get reserve, and sometimes Storehouse is a liability in this meta. But if I can just go out with Persian Horseman and already have one of these 2 cards in my hand, and then block with Persian Horseman and get the other, that's really good. Oh, I forgot Persian Horseman is yet another overtaken killer. Discards an artifact. I've talked about artifact control in another video. It's very, very, very important to be able to hit artifacts right now, and people just aren't doing it. And that applies to all formats. This, in 2 weeks coming up at Mr. Classic, artifact control is huge. So Irrational Rage, I can set aside, not all, but pretty much any relevant characters you have. And once again, I don't care if I lose the battle if I know I can give up a Lost Soul. If I pretty much take out all your heroes or all your evil characters. But yeah, more often than not, I'm going to take out a bunch of your stuff. I haven't ended the battle. Off of, I know it's a 6-2, but I have enough banding to where I should be able to just interrupt end the battle, or interrupt draw 3 end the battle with a Mask of Arrogance. And then, so I have the cross. The cross doesn't hurt me because I have Captured Arc and Persian Horseman, and 3 woes, but 3 woes would have to be down already. But I have enough to get out from the cross because I do have Plot, Descent Against Moses, Reap the Whirlwind, or all CBN. But a lot of people are playing negate evil cards or just full on by the numbers. we're just seeing it differently than what it used to be. It used to be a big captain ban, which, hey, guess what? Still is. But it used to be a big captain ban or a big warrior class by the numbers band. Now we're seeing negate evil cards from GOC in just a big band. I am he with a 2/3 hero band with Andrew at the end. Like, that's really, really good. So you have to make sure to have CBP and CBN stuff. So I just like going to captivity as well. You may discard this card to capture a hero and draw one. Or it's a negate a good card, capture a character, which also really good. So if we look at it, I have Better to Be Slaves, Irrational Rage, Go into Captivity, and Stocks. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that are evil or neutral that can target their evil, which is very, very good. So yeah, I really like that aspect. Xerxes is very, very good if these decks get out to a massive turn 1. If I can go to Xerxes, I'm happy. Play advantage, set aside X in their territory for X turns. It's still reliant on their brigades, but either way, I can set aside 1 or 2 of their most important cards. Potentially turn 1 because I have Darkness and a Slave. So that's good. But I think that's it. I've been rambling on. Like I said, I've been rambling on, and I think this offense with orange is the best deck overall. So I'll go ahead and work on that and post it in Discord. We'll do a quick run through. I like to keep my videos at 45 minutes, and this one's already 42. But I did have, like I said, a bunch of topics I wanted to talk about today. And maybe I should have just broken them down into another video. There we go. We already have Xerxes. So if I go first, I have Crowd's Choice, Foretelling Angel. Like, I have everything I need. I don't even need to play Foretelling Angel. But I can play Crowd's Choice. Now remember, that'll give us an evil card for Great White Throne. So we have Daniel Michael right now, or we have Daniel Captain, which I think is better. So I play Crowd's Choice. I go to Michael. I activate Throne. I go to Captain. I don't always like to put down cards. Like, even though it's an artifact, I don't have to put it down because I want my hand to look a little beefier. Like, if I have 4 or 5 cards, why would my opponent not attack me? Or they would have confidence in a block. Now, you might not have confidence turn 1 against this, but your opponent having confidence is a bad thing for you. You want to kill their hopes and dreams. So then a Foretelling Angel, more than likely it's not a Daniel card, but it's nice to see it anyway. So from here, we have Michael Captain. There's very few things turn 1 they can do against that. They would have to generate something here, some sort of Lost Soul gen, and then I still have a draw 2 and a Read the Whirlwind, so it's not bad. Or if I really need to, I could Uzza Stocks. So we already knew it was Angelic Guidance. We're going to look at the next one because of Foretelling, and we're definitely going to take Daniel. We get to reveal the top, and it's Remnant. We can play our Angelic Guidance. We get a look at their hand, and we get a silver card. Depending on what we need here. Like I could already get a live coal if I wanted to, if they're playing Overtaken. But more than likely we're just getting our dude. So I banished that, so that was gone. If anything's down, which more than likely they had something down, I could just take it, but I wouldn't want to because I don't have any souls. But sure enough, we already have reveal top for Foretelling. I do want to leave that. Yeah, I want to take. That's tough. No, you want to leave that up top. So we want to leave a Daniel card up top because um, we still want Great White Throne active, and we do want to put an evil card in territory just for Great White Throne before we attack. And now we have our potential CBN. So from here we go Daniel, Servants, Michael to Captain, and they have to band. And if they do band, I can just discard Uza for Great White Throne, and I would be CBN protected. More than likely, there is nothing they can do against that. They would have to generate Lost Souls again, and I don't have that big draw engine. I'm reliant on my Lost Souls to get my evil characters and get some drawing going, which I don't love. So that's once again why probably orange needs to be in here. They'd have to do something for Lost Souls, and I could still block, not all day, but I can block very well between Horseman, Whirlwind, and Command. More than likely, they would have Hopper or Lost Soul Gen here, so I would have had to block. From here, I really like Great White Throne, but I have the hand look, and then the deck hitting. So, and once again, if I play orange, Hidden Treasures pretty much always goes through because I can easily get around their protection. Reveal the top. And then if I want, I can take a Daniel Angel. I just don't need to do that. So what we want to do, and what we would have done, like we would have had some sort of battle, and we would have had an evil card in our discard, and we would have been able to banish it with White Throne and grab a Bendigo. And then a Bendigo makes foretelling work from reserve. That's more than likely what would have happened. And then we go right back to what we want. They would have to play, if they have Humble also out, like I'm getting out from under their Humble. I'm making sure I have a smaller hand. The only thing they could do is Golgotha. And then they would still have to, I would still have Hidden Treasures to see their hand. And maybe I don't need Captain, and I just have the negate. So that's pretty much it. It's rinse and repeat. And it's just a matter of, do you want to use Great White Throne or do you want to use Hidden Treasures? As for blocking, like, I don't always have to discard 2. Like, that discard an artifact is amazing. Go to reserve, get out whatever you want. If I can go to Persian Horseman turn 2 for a confusion, I love that. If I have Reap the Whirlwind as well, knowing I still have the Add to Battle is nice. And then I can just go to Slave to Haman, and then Haman could go to Plot or Boasting, like whatever I think I need if I have initiative or not. Surprisingly enough, initiative matters right now, and Haman's actually getting initiative against a lot of stuff. So I don't need to keep playing on. I've done this defense before, and the offense is just rinse, repeat. It's fun to play, though, because if you get the hand looks and the Foretelling Angel interaction, like as soon as I get a Bendigo, and there he is. So as soon as I get a Bendigo, which I would have had with Foretelling Angel, a Bendigo comes out, top decks Shaddy, and now I have CBN. Boom, boom, boom. And I could just manipulate artifacts as I want, and I manipulate your artifacts. All my guys are CBN, and then Captain comes in and negates them, but guess what? They're all CBN. So I just shut everything off, toss a bunch of good stuff, either get the hand look and discard the one enhancement you have in your deck that can stop this band, and I just walk through. So as long as I can block, this gets through everything. So I do think, like when I put the orange one up there, I do think that's the best overall deck. I keep saying it. I think more people will play it. And then who knows, maybe the meta will shift to being able to beat this stuff. That is the beauty of competitive play and redemption. So I have spoken enough. It's a 50-minute video. I hope there's a good bit of tidbits in there. Talked about the meta, how the season changed, where I think it's going, and what you need to do to be competitive this year. And then I will show at least one more video this week in that turn 1 Nazi lock. And we'll talk a little bit about what that does with Herods and Overtaken and Nazi and just all the craziness. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. If you have any sort of comments, you can Discord or just comment on the video. I try to check YouTube enough to where I can respond back to comments. So yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks, y'all.